So you've just started your chaplain journey and you're headed to CH-BOLC, the Chaplain Basic Officer Leader course. Well, I got 5 things that I think will help prepare you and your family for the beginning of this new journey. So make sure to tune in and check them out. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Tattooed Chap on Chaplain University. This week, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 5 things that you should do before you go to CH-BOLC to help you be prepared. If you do these things, it will help ensure that you have a less stressful time when you're at the schoolhouse learning the things that you need to learn to become an Army chaplain. So make sure to tune in and find out what those 5 things are. And I'm going to throw in like a little bonus, a number 6 type thing that kind of fits in this, but kind of not, and it will be helpful for some of you as well. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But before we jump into those 5 things, I want you to grab your cell phone and follow me on Instagram and also on LinkedIn so we can follow each other professionally and we can be friends there as well. And while you're at it, why don't you go down below and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you know when other future chaplain related content is coming out that may assist you in your chaplain journey. Before we get started, I think it's important that you know that I went to CH-BOLC twice. I had a little bit different experiences at each time. I did CMIT in phase 1 when I went with the Army National Guard. After completing those first 2 phases, in that following year, I actually commissioned into the Active Duty Army Chaplaincy. And when I did, I went back and I finished the final 2 phases of the Chaplain Basic Officer Leader course. So I went 2 different times and I had slightly different experiences both times. So the first thing that I think is really important that you do if you want to be prepared for the Chaplain Basic Officer Leader course is have your personal affairs in order. There were several people at both iterations that I went to that had things going on back at home. And of course, we're always going to have things going on back home. But we had people that had credit card issues and financial issues that they should have taken care of beforehand. It caused a lot of stress on them while they were at the school. And it was stuff that they probably could have taken care of beforehand. Likewise, some of our chaplains that were there were still trying to manage their church back home or do their civilian job back home or work with their Army unit back home while they're trying to go to school. And I'll just be honest, it's really hard to do that and at the same time do the chaplain stuff. You can't be divided in what you're doing when you're at CH-BOLC. You'll have to have your full focus on your training. You can't do both pastoring the church from afar and also taking the course. So find someone that can fill in those roles for you that you can trust and that can do a good job for the month or 2, 3 months that you're gone. And number 2, and this thing I think is really important for anyone that's in the military, and it's kind of like a habit that you should develop, but have an emergency book for your spouse and family for when you're gone. And in that emergency book, you can have things like emergency numbers and contacts of family and friends, the school or the place that you're going to, so that way they can get a hold of you if your cell phone's not working. But also you should have all of your passwords and login IDs for like all your financials and insurances and all that stuff. So that way, if your spouse is back home and they need to take care of something, they're not trying to call you when you're out in the field and they can't get a hold of you, and then it causes a bunch of stress for them, causes stress for you. But you should have a book that has all that stuff easy to find. Places that has like your birth certificates, marriage certificates, or at least copies of them that your spouse can go to and grab real quick, and also resources at your local base that they can call if they need help. Another cool thing that you could have in there is a copy of your military orders. You know, spouses, if they don't know who to contact and they can't get a hold of you, if they have a copy of those orders, they could probably take them to any military person and that person can help them track down on who to contact if there is an emergency. Likewise, something else that would be really important to have in there is like service schedules for your vehicle, for your house, maintenance schedules. So that way your spouse, who may not normally do these things, knows when and where and how to take care of things like when do you get your car tires rotated, and when do you need to have the oil changed? When do you need to have the furnace at your house serviced? Things like that can be very beneficial and also help reduce the stress on your spouse while you are away. Number 3, I think it's important to have a plan on how you're going to stay connected to your family while you're away. For some of you, this may be your first time that you're away from your family for any extended period of time. And it can be hard to sometimes maintain that intimacy and that closeness with your spouse and with your kids. And so you have to be proactive in how you're going to maintain that. And sometimes it takes extra work than if you're at home. How does your wife or your husband feel loved? Or how does your kids feel loved? And trying to find unique ways that you can show that to them while you're away. Maybe it's cards, maybe it's doing FaceTime. One thing that my spouse and I do is sometimes we will read the same book or the same parts of the Bible and then discuss them later on the phone. Maybe not read them together, but we'll discuss them on the phone together through FaceTime. Today with FaceTime, you could buy a book and your kids can have the same book and you could read the books to them while they're back at home. One unique thing that I've done with my kids is that we'll all have like a little unique Lego character that will represent each of us. And then while I'm away, I'll take photos of their Lego figurines with me. So it was like my kids were with me when we were doing the field exercise, and they'll take photos with them and my little fit Lego figurine. And it was like I'm with them doing their things. And so it's one unique and fun way to stay connected as a family with your kids. So that's another option, especially if your kids are younger. And something else that kind of goes along with this is if there's like any major holidays or birthdays that are going to be happening during this time, like Father's Day, Mother's Day, maybe a birthday, is discussing with your spouse and with your kids in advance what you're going to do, because you're not going to be there in person. And so, having that plan beforehand, this is what we're going to do. Maybe we're going to celebrate it when we get back, or this is how we're going to celebrate it while we're separated. So that way they feel loved. And if it's, your special holiday or birthday while you're gone, so that way you feel loved and you don't feel forgotten as well. Now this one I think is really the foundation of all these and really important. If you have a spouse, you need to make this experience for them as stress-free as possible. They're the ones that are staying behind, taking care of the home, taking care of the bills, potentially if you guys have kids, taking care of the kids. Though it may be tough while you're at this training, they're having to do all this stuff on their own that normally they may be relying on you to do some of it. So how can you in advance help them have a successful and enjoyable time? It could be your spouse's first introduction to the Army, you being away, and you don't want them to get embittered right out of the gate. You want them to know that anytime the Army calls you away, that things are going to be okay. And this is really where you can start that trend. And same with your kids. You can start that trend with them as well. So some of the things I think are really important is who's going to mow the lawn if you're the person that normally mows the lawn? Are you going to a neighborhood kid, or is your spouse going to do it? Who's going to take care of changing the oil in the vehicle? Another thing, if you have kids, is how is your spouse going to have a break? You're going to be gone for 2 to 3 months. And so how are they going to have a break? What I recommend is planning in advance how your spouse is going to have a break from the kids. Maybe it's the kids go stay with the grandparents for a weekend, or an aunt and uncle. Maybe you can't do the weekend because the family lives so far away, but maybe finding a sitter or someone that you can trust just for even portions of the week, like a few hours here and a few hours there. That can go a long way to help your spouse maintain sanity while you're away. And it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. So make sure to do that. Now this is the bonus. I told you there's a bonus, and this is, I think, it applies to some people, but maybe not everyone. But I think it's something really to consider. It's a sensitive topic, but I think it's an important one that maybe should be broached. If you are of a faith tradition that believes pornography is wrong, then I think it's very important that you get a pornography blocker on your personal computer and your phone, and entrust that password with a friend. And the reason why I say that is because you're away from your spouse, who you're probably intimate with on a regular basis. You are going to be in your own hotel room for those 2 to 3 months, and the temptation will probably be there to satisfy yourself. And you want to make sure that you don't get tempted beyond what you can bear. And a great way to do that is put guardrails in your life with a trusted friend that can make sure that you're not looking at things you shouldn't be looking at on your computer. So that's a bonus. There's a lot of cool programs and apps out there if that's something that is important for you. And I'll have a few of them down below in the notes that you can look at. But I think that was something that's worth mentioning because yeah. So there you have it, everyone. Those are the 5 things that I think you should do, plus the bonus to prepare yourself for your time at CH-BOLC. The cool thing is most of the stuff that I mentioned could also apply to any kind of field rotation or deployment. It might vary a little bit, but all those things are very good practices to start putting into your military career even now. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it and share it with those that you think would enjoy this or learn from it. Also, as I said, comment below with any thoughts that you have or if there's something I missed. And make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it already, because we'll have more content coming out in our Chaplain University playlist. Plus, I've put out other things as well that you may enjoy. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you found this helpful, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.